Welcome back to Switch to Linux. So today we're going to have a look at another Linux software package. This is one that I have not used before, and so this is going to effectively be a first impression package. And this is one that, as I've done some videos on the power of LibreOffice, that a few people have come down and said, well, you should look at OnlyOffice because it's another great alternative, and some people have said, oh, this is even better, and I've never heard of it before. And so what we're going to do today is I have just installed OnlyOffice. I really haven't even cracked it open. Well, we're just going to have a quick first look at OnlyOffice. So I've used OpenOffice, I've used LibreOffice, I've used Word and Microsoft Office back since 1995 version. So if this Office package is this good, then I should be able to very quickly get in here and figure it out. So we're going to look at OnlyOffice, and I started out by downloading it, installing it, and then I wanted to look at different reviews and things, and I found that there certainly is some good positive things to say about it, but it became for me a package that it looked to me like it's, it is primarily a business, but it is open source. It has a server deployment. The one thing I noted about it that is a little exciting to me is it seems to be a package that you can use on a server system and sort of be like a Office 365 or a Google Apps for Work replacement based on what I'm seeing. Now, that's something I just learned about it, so I'm not going to comment on any of those features today. Where I'm going to look at it is I'm going to look at it exclusively as an open source desktop platform. And what we're going to do here is start by just having a quick look at their website. And then with our website, then we are going to look at a few files, and I just want to see how well it works. So some of the things that I see over here, it says, again, this is where that thing, people had said this is a software package, you should look at this instead of LibreOffice, and I hadn't heard of it before. And so now I get to their website and, running your own office, and they're talking about some online suite stuff, some offline suite stuff, and for me it just kind of feels like there's kind of some confusion in the message. I don't really know what I'm looking at exactly. Now, I do, because I'm used to this type of thing, but what I'm seeing here is that the platform here, I came down to Solutions, went down to Desktop, and I was looking for the one place they had a tagline there somewhere where their tagline was something to the effect of, as powerful as Microsoft Office and free like LibreOffice. And I think whoever wrote that tagline, I can't find it now. They must have rotating images or something over here. I think whoever wrote that tagline just doesn't know how LibreOffice works, because I find it to be every bit as powerful as Microsoft Office. And so anyway, I came down over here. So it says here, OnlyOffice desktop editors for PC and Mac. Of course, it is available on Linux as well, and that's what we're looking at here. So you don't install it through any PPAs or through any terminal. You have to download a deb file and install the deb file from there. So here's your Windows platform, your Mac OS, and your Linux. You have a deb and an RPM package, and then of course there's a portable version as well. So what I did is I installed this, and then what we're going to do is just have a look at how well does it handle documents and some functions compared to LibreOffice, or maybe just all on its own. The other options, of course, there's cloud, server, desktop, and they have the integration. And one of the things I find is it's a little cheaper than the Office 365, but not really significantly. Oh, Kitty wants to say hi. Hey everybody, switch to LibreOffice, because Tom's a little nervous about OnlyOffice. Alright, so yeah, I'm almost feeling a little biased coming into it. I cannot imagine, especially since I've installed it, I've had a quick look. I'm a little leery. So here they have the option for a 1 month, a 1 year, or a 3-year subscription. I think one of the major advantages of something like Google Docs and things is the shareability. I'm not completely sure if these are going to be quite as shareable. I just don't know. Like I said, I don't really want to comment on any of the cloud or server functions. So we're just going to close this guy down and have a look at the desktop version. And then if I want to, I'll explore the cloud server later. I mean, you can actually deploy it for free on your Linux server. So who knows? Maybe I'll do that. In fact, I was looking at wanting to install Colab on a Linux server. This could be a competitor to that. So we'll have a look at various options here. But as you can see, it is more of a business, less of a project. Whether you consider that an advantage or a disadvantage is something that each person has to take into account. So we'll close this. All right, so now what we're going to look at here is the installation. So this is something that kind of drives me crazy about LibreOffice on Mac, and I'm not sure if it does this on Windows or not, but there is no separate packages. Like, I'm not a person that wants to load up this giant all-in-one crap. This is exactly how LibreOffice works on the Mac, to the best of my knowledge, unless I push that update through that I haven't bothered with yet. But on Mac, that's something that drives me crazy, is that I cannot just put a link to the LibreOffice writer on my launcher. I have to put the full sweet thing like this. And I don't like this function quite as much. I can tell automatically, though, it's not quite as powerful as LibreOffice. Why? I don't see any databasing programs. I don't see any drawing programs. I don't see any math programs. And we can argue who really needs those. I might agree. But here we have our document, we have our spreadsheet, we have our presentations. Now, the other thing that I noted, and I did not look at what exactly fonts, but it did load some crappy versions of fonts with some same ones, because that was another thing on the website. Let me boot that website back up. I gotta find those parts on the website that I was looking at before. I just disagreed with, I don't want that one. Again, see that they're just focusing on the PC and the Mac, and so the fact that somebody handed me this on Linux is a little interesting. There you go, fully compatible with MS Office formats, 100% open source. I'm going to take issue with this fully compatible. It's really no more fully compatible than LibreOffice is, but as I mentioned on some of my other videos, where you will encounter some problems is if you do not have the same fonts installed. And that's very likely because they don't have a lot of the same fonts. And as I said, I did not get a chance to look at what fonts are available here. Maybe if we actually go and have a look at the source code, that we might be able to find it. But the problem is it threw some fonts in there just to add some confusion in. If I have a Windows computer and I grab the Calibri font and I take it from the Windows computer and I drop it on my Linux computer, now the Calibri font, which is the newer Microsoft Office font, will work perfectly. Well, this drops a Calibri font, but it's not the same font. And I'll show you that. Let's see. I'm not going to bother looking for the font list. And I do not know if it added more fonts or just if it added that one font. So what we're going to do is first let's have a look at just the program. If I open up a document here, let me do this and move this over here. See how this looks. So it is defaulting to the Arial font, and my downside here is I do not know if it came with Arial or if I installed Arial, because this is the computer I installed the Microsoft Office fonts on a previous video. I have no idea which fonts came with which. And I'm not sure if Arial is on Linux by default. Let me check. I know that my KDE computer, I've never installed any extra fonts. So I'm just going to have a quick look here about which fonts is Arial an available font on here or not. Okay, it is not a font that is on Linux by default. And so I'm going to guess that it's going to add the Arial font in if I did not already have it installed. There's Arial, Arial Black. And so here we have, just some basic text. Let's just do some things that I do on a regular basis. I want to do some bullet points. List 1, list 2, list 3. Oh, apologize. I have this new keyboard. I attached this thing, and my old keyboard had a wide backspace, and this one has a narrow backspace, and so I keep hitting that dash instead of the backspace. All right, so here is my bullet list. So that functions just fine. We can easily get the bullet listing in there. The next thing you might want to do is do some columns. Actually, I would usually do this with tables. So it looks like all these features are up here. I can easily see what's what. We have some normal spacing, some columns. So inserting a table here, let's go something like this. I'm just going to type in some random junk. See if we can manipulate things, what we can do here. All right. Well, it's about as annoying as Microsoft Office. I'll give it that. It's just too easy to just grab random stuff and move with it. All right, let's right-click. So the right-click buttons here is very nice. I'm looking for things like... whoa, uh-oh, hold on. Kitty emergency. Kitty about fell over there. All right. Okay. So, cell vertical alignment, text direction, paragraphs and settings, background colors. I cannot seem to find. I'm looking for, let's see, selecting from template. Okay, so there's neat table templates. That's kind of nice. One thing I'd like to do, let's see, no borders anywhere. There we go. That's what I was looking for. So as far as from the right out of the background here, one thing that I notice is that the file type is a docx. If you are used to working in docx, or you will be sending files back and forth with people on docx, this might save you an extra step. Except LibreOffice, you can set your default. It does look as though... it does look as though it's going to have all the same features. It does not have the annoying banner as the Microsoft Office does, which is nice. One thing, though, I'm noticing, I do not have... I'm trying to see if I can customize my menus up here. It just kind of, I don't know. There's File menu. So there's a lot of different options all over, but you know what I'm not finding? Okay, there's this, advanced settings. I want to see if I can find a way to adjust and edit my toolbars, because although it's not... It doesn't give me kind of the annoying Microsoft Office toolbar. What's not immediately obvious to me is how do I do things like enable editing? and review functions. If you're familiar with that, you know, on Office, you can change into an editing section, make comments and things like that. I'm not seeing immediately a way to do that. Not to say it's not here. I'm just saying, to me, I'm either looking for menus or I'm looking for a ribbon. Like, I don't entirely hate the ribbon on Microsoft Office. I find it annoying because I'd like to have just one screen up there and I'd like to put what I want on there. So I'm not seeing right away the ability to edit the menu, and I'm not seeing a way I can do all of the other things that I know a writing program should be able to do that I can't seem to figure out right now. Like, if I want to turn on the editing, how do I do that? Let's see, just other things. There's bullets. So all of the common features and functionality does seem to be here. I am sure I probably can make adjustments to some of this stuff. I just, you know, as a quick first impression, if you're saying this is a great program, I'm extremely experienced in like every Office program that has come down the pipeline. I'm not sure how to do some of those basic features and functions. Let's see. I guess I can add a comment here. So that just kind of adds it, and then I click on that. Okay. How do I get rid of it? Delete the comment. Okay, there you go. All right, so there's how we can add a comment. Borders. Let's see. Here's inserting pictures, inserting text blocks. Let's see. Here's how we can do some formatting on that front. Okay, I was looking for how I can format my arrows and buttons and things. So it does seem as though everything is pretty much here. We just, it's a little bit, I mean, I can't see the review editing. It's not as obvious or intuitive to me. And now let's go ahead and save the document. No. Save, and let's go ahead and drop this on my desktop. And saved document. All right. And then, well, it's not nearly as full feature as is LibreOffice, because we have only a couple options here for saving. In fact, one thing I'm not seeing is I'm not seeing the ability to go back and save back to an older version of Office, which I can understand the reason for leaving that out. You know, if you need to be saving a document in a .doc file, it might be time to update your Office software. But we have docx, ODT, RTF, text, and PDF. That's it. We'll go ahead and save it as a docx file. Save that. All right. And then we're going to go ahead and open that document back up. Where'd it go? Save document right there. We're going to go ahead and open this back up in LibreOffice. I'm going to minimize this, though, real quick. Right-click. Okay, so I can actually open it up here by right-clicking and opening with. So that's something else I want to look for. So here is my basic. Let me do a quick print preview of this. Just want to make sure it left these guys off, which it did. All right. Now, one thing is that I don't really use the LibreOffice on this computer, so you'll notice I do not have the nice menus. This is the pretty ugly version of this, and that's perfectly okay with me. If I use this a lot, I'd change these icons. It's not the icons I'm used to. But here's what I was talking about. You know, if I want to come over here and I'm like, okay, I want to make adjustments to the table, just clicking on this, here's all my options for my tables without having to right-click on things or hunt around. Now, in this case, the table was pretty good. One thing I do not seem to see here is the table templates that they had in the other platform. And that's something I don't really use much, so I'm not completely sure if that exists or not. But if I want to do things like, let's see, you can kind of click over here and see up at the top that we have all of the extra items, like how do you leave footnotes or endnotes in OnlyOffice. That's something I could not quite find. Let's see. Basically, it's just the number of items that we can find, the menus, and the fact I can right-click on a toolbar here and customize any of these toolbars means that I can customize my entire screen. And on this basis, I seem to think that that LibreOffice is probably more featured than OnlyOffice is. More complicated? For sure. Absolutely. I'll agree with you on that basis. If you just need simple documents without any real features or things, OnlyOffice might be pretty good. Let's go ahead and save. We're going to save as. And then here you can see we have ODF, templates, XML templates. Here's another Office template. Here's your docx and your doc. We can save as an XML file, a Microsoft Office template file. We can save as an HTML page, rough text format, text, a text where you can choose the encoding, and a docx. So there are a lot of options. Of course, the one that you may not have seen in this list is the PDF, but that is actually right up here, and you do that under Export as PDF under the File menu. So in that respect, you can see LibreOffice certainly does have a lot more features than does the other one. So what we're going to do here is I wanted to see how this would work on a larger document. So what I did is I grabbed the final copy of my published book and grabbed that. I'm like, what can I use that already has a lot of text, etc., without violating any copyrights or anything? And so, well, I can actually copyright, or I can go ahead and use my own book, and this being is that I own the copyright. You'll see right here the default font that I had on there was Calibri, and you'll see that if you are used to Microsoft Office, this is not Calibri. This is quite ugly. And if you're trying to mimic or say that you're completely compatible with Microsoft Office and you're going to include a font that Microsoft Office comes with it, you want to make sure that that is the same font. And in this case, it is not. And the reason it's not is that font is actually a copyrighted font by Microsoft Office, or by Microsoft rather. And they get a little itchy when you take them. It's just like violating copyright. So you can see here that we have that it's here, it's loading in the font it thinks, but it's not exactly a nice looking font. Now I believe that I had published this in, it was either Verdana or Tahoma. I think I published the book in Tahoma. Let's see if Tahoma's on here. Yeah, Tahoma is not on here. Let's look at Verdana though. Okay, so it does seem to be able to handle the fonts okay. Let me see if I had. Okay, so the bold titles are in there. The italics are in there just fine. So everything else seems to be in order. There's block quotes, italics, and block quotes. I don't remember that being lowercase like that, but maybe it was. Okay. So it does seem to handle Office documents just fine. This, of course, came directly from a Microsoft Office document. Of course, it'll open up in this as well. Now, again, the font there that was installed, let's have a look at this. I don't remember that being looking quite like that. Let me have a look here. Maybe it did. I just don't remember exactly the format I had the menu in. Oh, come on. Come on. There you go. So on OnlyOffice, it does give me the line spacing a little bit better on these guys right here. Let me just have a look down here. Everything else seems to be just fine. Of course, my views do not seem to match each other. Let's just do 100 on both of them. Of course, I'm not sure exactly how I changed my view size on this one. That's file. See, this is the thing. I'm looking for the view size. How do I change my view? There you go. There's my zoom. There's my zoom is now set at 100. Okay. So that's about the same way there. All right. I really hope that's not in my final. A little typo might be in my final book. I don't know. I think this is actually 1 or 2 revisions before it got finally published. But yeah, there's a few things in here. Funny thing, I found that we were required in grad school. We were required to use a macro written by the great and powerful university, and the macro disabled the spell checker. When you were running it on Office, and so a little goofy there. I found that I had a consistently misspelled word in my doctoral thesis. Whoops, I'm not exactly a good speller, but all right. So both of them seem to work pretty good with the file. Let's see what happens when I change my. Let's go to just changing it. Okay, just changing my font. No big deal there. And so, you know, in this respect, it's, you know, they do function very similar. I would certainly say that, that LibreOffice is more full-featured. If you're just doing absolute basic things, then I think that, the, OnlyOffice might be a little cleaner looking, a little simpler, although I know on LibreOffice I can change around the icons and things. Let's have a look now at some spreadsheets. So I'm going to open up a spreadsheet here with a grade book in it. Of course, I scrubbed the names out of here. Well, let's go ahead and let this guy load. Let's open the same document over here in LibreOffice. Okay, so LibreOffice is zooming along, and OnlyOffice is just loading. This is written, it's the XLS. I'm trying to remember when Chem 12. Let's see. I want to say I was doing this on Office XP is what my thought is. I'm just trying to remember when I taught Chem 12. I'm trying to remember what school Chem 12 was. Obviously, I'm going to declare LibreOffice the winner. It's just like, okay, it's working. Of course, some of the things that I showed in, you know, I showed a lot more detail on LibreOffice in another video, including things like if I wanted to put nice fancy bars or icons, I could, you know, come over here. I can do some conditional formatting. Here's some icon sets. Data bars. I got some data bars in there. I can grab, you know, we can grab the data and drop in the charts. So here's where the charts are. Here's this. I can right click on the chart. I can change the chart type, data ranges, stuff like this. Pi would certainly not be a good type of chart for this. And class scores, whatever. All right, what's going on with this guy? I mean, Where's my open? Paste. How do I open a document? Oh, file menu probably. That's something like I have not used Office since a long time. I'm guessing that the problem is it does not know how to handle an XLS sheet. So I'm going to close this in LibreOffice. And I'm going to go ahead and open the same file up just because I had changed it a little bit. I'm going to open the same file up. I'm going to File, Save As. I'm going to change the format to an XLSX sheet. We're going to go ahead and close this. Whoever recommended OpenOffice to me, or OnlyOffice to me, why? Let's see how it handles this one. I mean, that's a grade book. There's nothing fancy in that. Let's walk through what's in this thing. I mean, this is nothing more than a simple grade book. I happen to have, this was names when I started. This is just a number, which maybe it was a student ID. I don't remember what that number was. These are simply scores for quizzes and exams. And this is simply a sum of two blocks. A sum of the quizzes and a sum of, first part quizzes, second part quizzes. And this is a simple calculation. 3 of those charts, 1 for each section. And then here I have a simple chart. That's all that's on this thing. I'm not sure why this is having a hard time opening. Hey, that one opened. That's just some exercise equations. So I'm hereby declaring OnlyOffice an absolute failure when it comes to these. What I'm going to try and do here, I'm going to attempt to kind of rebuild one of these charts. Okay. All right, so here I have copied all of the data in. Let's see now if I can build a chart. So I believe that the chart was taken from, I don't know, we'll just grab the first name and the last name. Okay, so here I get a chart. Let's come down here. We're going to insert a new tab. Not sure why it inserts sheet 2 behind sheet 1. Let's see, can I move this? Cut. Okay, so this does not have any problem going from one chart to another, and if I change the sheet, it should go ahead and change that. Let's see if... okay, so it is copying correctly the data. So if I do change it on sheet 1, it will change on sheet 2. So we get a success over there. Now let's see if I can do some conditional formatting here to give me some data bars. You know what? Let's do something that I don't usually do in a video. I want to actually see how easy it is to look something up. So if I want to do conditional formatting OnlyOffice. Well, that's a format for LibreOffice. Okay, so apparently as of, this was actually as of just a month ago, we use a lot in our current spreadsheets. Apparently there's not there in OnlyOffice at all. I can imagine this could be done with a plugin quite easily. Linking to an individual sheet in the documents, embedding a sheet in another document, which is actually something I use this. This is actually something I've not tested in LibreOffice. On my Windows computer, I actually have a lot of goal sheets printed out, and the goal sheets will actually embed spreadsheets inside of them. I do not know how well that works. Now, I know I can do columns, but I want to actually be able to embed actual spreadsheets inside of them. That is something that I use on Microsoft Office on Word, but I'm not sure if you can do that in LibreOffice Writer. I simply don't know. I have not tried to open those files up in LibreOffice. So this guy here apparently is somebody who works for the company. Hello, we're working on it. We have lots of tasks as those that you mentioned. We also have on our roadmap. So soon I hope we will release public roadmap. So apparently even they know there's a lot. And that's kind of funny because as I'd said, I was not able to find it on their website, but it was on their website where I did specifically see the thing, and it said, as powerful as Microsoft Office, but free like LibreOffice. And apparently it's not as powerful as Microsoft Office, because these are things that I used. You know, I obviously, for security and safety, whatever, I didn't show my full gradebooks, but I made extensive use of conditional formatting because it allowed me to flag students. It allowed me to keep track of things visually very quickly. And these are some of those core things. I mean, I'm not even going to proceed to look on here because I know I can't do the conditional formatting now. We can do the charts. Again, we can't edit what's up here in the labels. There's no menu bar. I can't do all of the extra functions that I might find on LibreOffice. So, for example, if I go ahead and just open this guy back up, and of course we can't even open the document, and I don't know why, but this document just would not open. And there's nothing complicated about this document. It's not like it has conditional formatting or anything in it. It's just a simple document. But you can see up here we have the ability, inside of here we have your various sorts, ranges, various tools over here. Let's do a couple quick calculation items. Oh, you know what it did? It simply copied the data values in here. It didn't even copy what my sums were. Let's see, how was that made? Okay, so that was a sum of DQ to Q2. Okay, let me DQ to Q2, parenthesis, okay, plus sum, and that is U2 to Z2. Okay. But I believe that this formula was supposed to equal 100 minus this. So we do have the copy down structure, seems to work just fine. Basic formulas seem to work just fine. I'm not sure if I could do, let's see. Let me try something here. Equals if. Okay, so we do have if operators in here. If this value equals 1. You know what I can't see though is something that I really like. Let me verify it's over here. Oh, this is something I use a lot in. Okay, so see how it gives me the pop-up here, which gives me what we're looking for. Because what I want to do is if this value here is equal to 1, then I want to do a value like good. Otherwise, my value is bad. Of course, I think I cannot remember if I have to put those in quotes or not. This might very well give me a bad error there. Yeah, okay, I think I have to put these in quotes. This is something I do this a lot on one of my spreadsheets, but it's not there. Okay, so it might just be looking for a value. Okay, so there it's just looking for a value, and I think that's exactly the context I've done it in. So this up here, it might work the same way. 5, 6. Okay, so it works the same way, but it does not give me my tooltips, which pop up and show me what my actual functionality is. So if I come over here, copy down, everything should, no, gotta start with it, of course. Now if I come over here and I just do some random 1s laying around, you'll see that it'll put a 6 in each one of those cases there. So what I was looking to do there is, it doesn't give you the help, the hint that will enable you to know what exactly you're doing. And, you know, most people will understand what the formula is, but you don't necessarily have memorized exactly how to run the formula. It's very nice to have that pop up there, which gives you the information. So I think that overall here, after looking at this, no comment on the server or any of that kind of stuff, but really looking at OnlyOffice versus LibreOffice, LibreOffice is way more powerful, way more functional. I can't comment on the stability. I've never had a LibreOffice really crash on me. I've not had the ability to have OnlyOffice crash on me, so it's never crashed. But, you know, in all of the time I've been using it for this short period of time. Overall, though, I think that OnlyOffice, I'm not sure. It's not a program. I'm going to uninstall it from my computer now. Because it's not something I want laying around. I don't find it a very useful application. I find that everything that I need to do I can use in LibreOffice. And I feel a lot better, and all of us should feel a lot better downloading a software package where we can just go right into the command line or right into the software store. The fact that it's not available for download in your software manager, you know, or or in maybe even just a better source than simply downloading an unverifiable deb package or RPM package, probably speaks to me to say I'd rather stick with LibreOffice or even some of the other Office applications available. So yeah, somebody had recommended I have a look at OnlyOffice, so there I've had a look at it. Once again, very, very final disclaimer that that I am, I am not an expert of this. I looked at this for about the period of time that we just did this video, but I want to do it from such a fresh perspective, because what I did not want is I didn't want to go in and learn how to use everything. I really wanted to approach it from the standpoint of I've never used it before. How easy is it for somebody who is very, very familiar with Office applications to get in there and use the system? So this was a very first look at OnlyOffice. And with that being said, it certainly wasn't the most comprehensive. And if I missed a whole lot of stuff, feel free to tell me all about it in the comments. I have no problem with that whatsoever. I just wanted to show you that it's out there. It exists. It might be something for you. It almost looks like maybe the self-deployed Linux server version might be something useful. That is something I'm interested in. I am interested in a cloud-based platform that I don't have to pay somebody else for, and I do not have to use somebody else's cloud. I'm very interested in a cloud service that is mine. And so with that being said, this very well may be an option for that. At least it's something I can look into in more detail. But as a desktop program, I find OnlyOffice really not necessarily the best option that we want to use. So with all that being said, thanks for watching, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.